Why did you buy this for flowers?
Karina, remember I said that there was something on the floor that I had to move, otherwise Armando would pick up and wear it?
And he did.
Guess what happened? I forgot to fucking move it!
You know me, I'll pick it up and I'll start dancing with it. It's supposed to be like...
You fucking goof!
Yeah, I could party with this all night. This is sick. Damn. Put that on the side so we don't get distracted.
I feel the jitters. It's been a while, dude. I feel the jitters.
No,
It feels weird. It just feels weird.
Bring it down and over to me. Is that good?
Yeah. Because you guys are always having all crooked and not appealing.
That sounds a lot like my posture, by the way.
No, your posture's pretty good. I've been trying to like keep up my posture, you know.
You're jittery, you're nervous, do you need to... You know, this is the first podcast that we've had in 3 months. The awkward thing just happened.
No, I hit this and it went boop.
Oh,
I was trying to touch your hand. I was trying to go like this.
We did one of those like I didn't do it. I didn't do
I
it.
fucking do it, bitch. What's it mean? But it has been a while. Damn, It has been 3 fucking months. I think, right? 3 months. And it does feel like forever in a way, but it feels like it is my home in a way too. Like I have familiarized myself with this place, and I have had many moments in this place with you. So it's just like, it doesn't feel too weird, but it does feel like, damn, it's been a while. It's just like came back to the cabin, the mountains, you know, like it's just like, it's a weird.
Which is exactly why you gave my room, what was it, a 5 out of 10?
I give it a 7 out of 10 because
you feel like it's your home that you can critique it.
If I'm gonna be sitting in it, I gotta like make sure it looks good, because then if something looks off, it's just gonna distract me. But it looks fine. I like the little changes you made. You added little lights on your ceiling. It doesn't smell, so that's good.
It doesn't. Does it usually smell? I open the window every
No,
time you
I
come,
don't think
so
I
it
ever
kind of
smelled
air
it.
out.
That's one good thing about it. It never smelled. So, except for your farts. Whenever you fart, it's like disgusting as fuck. But
sorry for my use of deadly force.
Yeah, but it is your casa, so you could do whatever you want in your casa.
My what?
Your casa.
Oh, my casa.
Your casa.
Right.
Yeah, so you can do whatever you want. So, but thank you for having me again here. It has been forever, and thank you.
You're welcome.
For letting me touch everything here, and then there you go.
You know, that was my.
We haven't done the little.
Piece of
we haven't done our little handshake. I just noticed that.
Should we?
Let's just let them know we haven't touched each
other.
I might just touch them right now, but
is pretty low contact. It's just the tip of the fingers.
Yeah. And we could put hand sanitizer. We should have hand sanitizer here. Oh, we should have done that. We should have had. Toss it over here. Oh, that was fucking loud as fuck. Yeah, we can do that.
Here we go, guys.
Some ASMR shit that you heard right there.
I'm gonna be upfront here. This will probably be the least funny episode of our entire podcast.
There's a lot going on because the world is in shambles.
Right.
I would think a lot of the people will say, a good portion of the population would say, we are fucking up. At least America is fucking up.
Yeah.
Because other countries are noticing this right now.
If you're sick and tired of hearing about this, feel free to click out. But, you know, I just felt that it was very necessary to talk about the current state of events. Kind of contemplated it. A lot of our friends have said, you know, you need to speak up and this and that. And we've had this sort of social pressure kind of seep into our ego, and we're like,
I got peer pressured. I told you the story, right? Where this girl in my Instagram, she posted a thing on her story saying, she tagged a bunch of people, and I was one of them in the tags. She said, I haven't seen you post anything about the BLM protests, this and that.
She added you? And
she put me in the tag in the little story. And if you don't post anything about it or this and that, I'm going to delete you by the end of the day. And I'm like, this bitch.
Fucking delete me. No, I mean, what's the problem?
It might have like, damn, delete me, bitch. But I was like, you know what? I guess I'll put something up, but not because you told me to. All right, bitch. I'll do it because I wanted it.
Did you DM her that?
No, I didn't DM her that, but I should have, right?
She doesn't know that. She won the game. But I
can send her this video right now, this podcast. Be like, this is for you, all right?
Here's the thing, right? I was watching Dave Chappelle also talk about how he was criticized for not saying anything. And
I can imagine.
Out of all people, and he was saying that, do you really think now, do you really want to hear what celebrities have to say about this right now? You know, and he's a comedian, right? And he does comment on things like this. So I sort of see why people expect to hear from people like him. Another thing that really kind of helped me to understand like why it may be important to talk about it is the fact that people he said, well, why do people want to listen to me? Because, you know, currently politicians aren't telling you the truth. They look to me because I tell the truth. I'm just a normal guy who believes shit, and I'll say it. And that's the reason why people go to people like Dave Chappelle to listen to them speak about these matters, because he's not afraid to tell the truth. And so, and then I kind of began to reevaluate like the people that I respect. The people that I respect are people who, you know, tell the truth even if it's kind of dicey territory to be talking about shit like this right now. But it is important because the truth matters, and like Dave Chappelle said, a lot of people are fucking lying right now. A lot of people are...
Which is people don't know what to believe at the moment. There's just too much that's going on at once. So people are like, who do we look up to, or who do we go for answers?
Right.
And Dave Chappelle is a big like a person in that kind of like spectrum, because he's a black comedian and he's known to tell, I guess, the truth. He'll tell you straight up, but in a joking manner. But now he's actually I think I might have seen the video before, but he was more serious this time around. He was more it was more like he was preaching, or he was just telling it. He wasn't like telling any jokes, he was just saying stuff. He was saying the truth to people. Yeah, so
846 was the name of his I don't think he called it a special,
or like,
but what I really respect about that is that he made it clear, and he wanted people to know that he said, normally I wouldn't communicate something so unrefined. He went up on stage with a notebook. And in a lot of ways, I feel like this is exactly this. I don't know exactly how to deliver what it is that I believe in a refined way. I got my book right here. But it's, you know,
I got nothing written in my notes. This is the test without looking at notes, bitch. And you came in here with that little notebook.
I did.
Yes,
I'm
bitch.
sorry.
I haven't written them everywhere. My fucking sleeves. I'm like, it is this and that. 50% of the, you know, just freaking spitting out facts. But no, it was good. I was gonna bring my laptop, but go ahead, continue.
So I began to think where, from our perspective, or at least from my perspective, what it is that, how can I provide a valid and necessary, call it an argument, call it a point, call it some value to what is happening right now. And, you know, law enforcement, man, I think, and I want to say this, the training, they don't train enough. You know, I want everyone to guess how much combat training, how much self-defense training that the police has. Think up a number in your head.
You give them options. You're like, A, do you believe it?
A,
300 hours a week.
A, 2 hours a week. A, or A again. B,
because only one fucking answer.
4 hours a year. C, let's give me another one.
No training at all.
No training at all. Answer.
Well, that's the wrong answer.
That's the wrong answer. I'm trying to make it easy here. It's B, guys. It's B. So, to that point, I find it kind of honestly like really irresponsible that cops are giving that amount of necessary training. That's going to the gym and because of the free trial, right? Going to the gym with the trainer, tell you all the details. You think you're gonna remember that like a month from then, 2 months from then, 6 months from then? Of course not.
They don't put it into practice. That's the thing. I think it's just not into practice enough. And the practice that they get is when they are put into the actual, like, I guess, game, whatever. Like when they're actually put in the situation, in the thick and thin, and
Right.
the George Floyd thing. When they're put in there, they panic. That's one thing. There's a lot of panicky cops right now. They're like, oh shit, what the fuck? We forgot what we did like a month ago. What the fuck? What do we do? Put your fucking knee right in his neck.
I think it's important to address this first, though. What Derek Chauvin did was
Derek was the
police officer who kneeled on the neck of George Floyd was disgusting. It was. Now let me tell you why. The guy was passed out already. He had his hands on his pocket. There was other officers restraining the man. Now let's do another thing. Why would you have your hands in your pockets? Why would you have your hands in your pockets in that situation?
Yeah.
You know? Is it because you're fucking cold? Is it because you have awkward hands and don't know what to do with your hands? Or is it because you're restraining the man? You know you're going to restrain the man. You know that you will be there for quite some time, that he won't topple you over. So, by definition, I feel like it was excessive. Like, he knew it was excessive. Everyone saw that it was excessive, right? It's impossible to see the whole video, but that's pretty much the most you could see out of a video. 8 minutes, 46 seconds of someone kneeling on somebody for that long. And that sort of behavior and the fact that that guy had a history of treating people badly, even as a security guard in the past, is kind of sickening that he didn't get fired earlier. So just want to make that clear, guys. Like, if you have, that's deadly force, and by the way, it's not legal.
Well, the thing is that I think I was reading up that they are, I think some of them are, I think some states they do, I think it is legal, I think, the neck part, they could put pressure on your neck.
Yeah, but moderate pressure. You're not allowed to put like all of your weight on their neck.
I forgot what the other main parts of the body, but the one part was the neck, and that surprised me. Like, oh shit, that was in some states that is legal. They could put your knee in your neck. But then there was accounts they were saying that I think it was in the Atlantic article, that I read. They were like testing out, I guess, to see if it hurts to even just put your back on, or your knee on someone's back just for a couple seconds, and they hurt, and they even put mats underneath them just to see how it hurts, and that actually did. Like, they couldn't handle it for just a couple seconds. So imagine someone on the concrete and they put like the pressure, the same amount of pressure. It's even more. It's doubled the effect. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just the way they're doing it right now. It's weird. It's like you can't. So we're trying to figure out what's the right way right now. Right.
So it's kind of opening up the conversation of like what is necessary, what is unnecessary, and I've heard this being brought up: the banning of chokeholds. Hot topic right now, and I think it's absolutely necessary to talk about this. This is why I disagree with this, and there are different types of chokeholds, and there's a difference between a chokehold and a neck restraint, right? So a vascular neck restraint is blocking off the carotid arteries. You know, so you're cutting off the blood flow from the carotid arteries to the brain, right? That's what a vascular neck restraint is. A lot of the times when people die from chokeholds, it's because they're applying the technique incorrectly and crushing the windpipe. Windpipe is your trachea. If you crush the trachea, you can't breathe.
You can't fucking breathe.
You can't fucking breathe. So even though you let go, you have something that's crushed, whereas these right here are flexible, right? So, and that's totally understandable to if you are reminded that they only have 4 hours of training a year, you know? So, of course, people are going to apply these techniques incorrectly. So, you know, but one might say, oh, but Jeremy, like, how do you expect cops to train and to master these techniques? I don't think you don't need to be a black belt to master these techniques. And, you know, the little training that I do have from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I train only once a week for a long time. I mean, I haven't this whole pandemic, but once a week training sort of thing, I think it's bare minimum. And, you know, I'm not a black belt. I'm not even a blue belt. I'm still a white belt, but I still feel that I can handle a lot of these ideas of pinning, right? Pinning requires for you to immobilize, whether it's the victim, to immobilize the other without hurting them, and that's important, right? The knee on the neck is excessive force, and you are most likely hurting the person, right? I read this. There's this I think people should watch this video. It's called.
Which one is it?
People who don't understand what jiu-jitsu is, I think there's this.
What's the principle?
Guys, right?
Yeah, what's the principle of jiu-jitsu? Like when they teach you, I guess.
Right. So
to immobilize someone, or at least in the way that
right.
it's most practical and the most safest way to kind of get them
correct
controlled.
Right.
And that should be one of the main things that should be applied in the police training and force.
Right.
You know.
And this is what I want to say. If you ban chokeholds, right, which is another avenue for the police to restrain a suspect, right? It's
another tool that you're taking away.
Yeah, it elevates.
It's a big tool.
The possibility of using deadly force, right? You want to minimize the possibility of using deadly force. You put on a properly applied vascular neck restraint. Even though the guy passes out, you let go, everything's good. You don't lose any brain cells, right? If you punch a guy and he falls onto the ground, he hits the concrete, there's a high percentage.
Even the rattling of the brain, you know what I mean? That's even the
a
impact
lot of
is
people,
standing. You know?
The point is, a lot of people die. If you punch somebody, they hit their head on concrete, it bounces off the concrete.
It's permanent damage.
That guy might die. And to your point, permanent damage. You sink in a vascular neck restraint, guy passes out. As long as you learn to let go, which is also the procedure of applying the technique correctly, you're safe.
They're safe. They go to sleep. They dream
it's
about.
Oopsie, I fucked up, and you're alive. How about that?
Yeah. They go to sleep. They dream about something. They wake up. They're like, hello.
Yeah. Yes.
You're alive. Yeah, that's all you gotta do.
So we never want to make the last resort the only resort. That's the fear, and the last resort is the bullet, right? That's the last resort. It shouldn't be the first. It shouldn't be the second. It should be the last.
Well, a lot of people are doing the last resort, the first resort, because I was telling you earlier, like almost 46% of Americans own guns. It's crazy, and I was reading that of course the people are scared of the cops because they have guns, but then the cops are scared of the people too because they have freaking guns.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just like, of course their hands gonna be right next to their holster. They're gonna be anticipating something because they don't know anybody could be holding a firearm these days. So of course I can see why the cops, I guess the majority of cops are scared right now is because of that alone. Just everybody can own a gun. Is this the Second Amendment, right? The right to bear arms. So it's just like what can you? There's just like the I guess the gun control. That's one thing for sure. Like that we need to like prioritize right now. You know, gun control and then the restraining portion, the training portion of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole gun situation is complicated and frankly way too difficult for me to unpack because I don't know enough about it. But as you said, 46% of gun owners
might be a little wrong, maybe a little lower, but yeah, it's a big portion. It's a good portion of the Americans.
Right. But what I think in my little expertise and knowledge of jiu-jitsu, I think a lot of cops don't believe that this shit works. That's part of the problem. They don't think they either don't think it works or they think it takes too long to learn. Right? If you do the proper training, 2 years you can earn a blue belt. Blue belt means you can kind of handle all of these things and you know how to pin an opponent, how to move between pins. Pin meaning, you know, you restrain someone not by just force, but by technique. Now that sounds kind of goofy to say, you know, technique, what are you talking about? But just think about it like this. Just think about it like this. Take a baseball player, right? They wind up, they put their leg all the way up, they put it down, they twist their hips, they flick their shoulder, and voila, a fastball of over 100 miles per hour. Put that guy on his knees, and he can't generate that much of explosive energy. Probably be half as much or less speed. That's the principle. If you're on the ground, it minimizes the strength differences between two people, and a lot of these techniques start to matter more. How do you move on the ground? How do you control somebody? And
most of the time that when they are moving, I was reading that they're moving because they can't fucking breathe, and the cop will think, oh, he's resisting against being arrested or whatever. So they put even more fucking pressure, and I'm like, oh shit, when do you know if the guy's resisting too? That's another thing, because there's many like situations like that where it's just like, of course with the George Floyd, you can see he's not fucking resisting. He's just saying I can't breathe. How about you fucking let your fucking knee off just a fucking little? So
and here's the other thing, what I mean?
Right? Like what the fuck?
He didn't even look down. He didn't look down once.
It's a hate crime for sure from his part.
Yeah, I may be wrong, but I don't remember one time he looked down.
Yeah, I don't remember now. I'm thinking about everything. He looked down. Right. That's crazy.
So what does that mean? Right. What does that mean? So, you know.
Well, you said they also had history, right? Like so he knew him.
Yeah, they worked at the same bar, and this was confirmed as security guards. And shout out to Karina for shedding light on that.
I think we hear it on the headphones, but there's
a doorbell.
Oh, it is a doorbell. I was thinking.
I'll be right back.
You can pause it or just pause it for now. I heard
it's already at 22 minutes. So.
Oh snap! Already.
But if you feel like at any moment to interject, please join in on the conversation. If you know anything, or if we're saying some bullshit,
or you can search up the facts. Like, oh, bullshit.
But yes, they had history, and the man could have been fired a long ago. But yes, they did have history together,
working together,
and apparently George Floyd had issues with Derek about being excessive with customers before, and so I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out in court and and whatnot. But the guy is he charged with? Can you?
It's second-degree murder right now, but they're trying to make it first because he knew him.
Right.
First it was third, which is like murdering without intent.
Right.
To murder.
Right.
And second, what is second defined as?
Second, I think, is like he knew he was gonna kill him, but he didn't stop. But he did, like, it was not a hate crime. He didn't know the guy, but he knew he was gonna kill, something like that. I don't know exactly. Right. But first-degree murder is like he knew him, and there was an intention.
Right.
Is the lower you go in the degree, is it, I guess, harsher? The punishment, I'm guessing?
No, it's less. First degree is the harshest.
The harshest. Oh, okay. I was thinking like... Yeah.
Which is why everyone's pushing he get first degree.
First degree. I see.
Yeah, they started at third, but they're going up now. not a second degree.
Oh, okay. That changes everything then. Yeah.
Yeah, it does change everything, and I wonder if this information came out at first. I wonder what it would have done to the movement.
It came out really early,
that's
but
what I'm
no
saying.
one believed it. Remember, I told you like pretty early on.
Right.
The manager at
Right.
the time came out and talked about it, and when
Right.
no one
Mhm.
believed it, it like became
Right.
more, I guess. I mean, I guess you can't really believe
It sounded like when I told it to you, you were like, "That's kind of a conspiracy." Is kind of was your reaction?
Yeah, I
to
was like, This.
But
it
so
was-
recently, it was like it was
It was
Confirmed.
brought
true.
upon again.
Yeah.
Because it does sound like they always throw in conspiracies about like
Yes.
it's just crazy. Yeah, they'll throw for anything. They'll throw conspiracy theories.
Right.
So at first I didn't believe it, but now I'm like,
I mean,
yeah,
like
that makes sense. You know, yeah.
to me, that goes to show like that's not just like him being a cop. That's him being a piece of shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like hate crime.
That's him being a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I'll be honest. Like being a cop is a hard job, and this is essentially why they are talking about defunding the police, because you know they should deal with those dangerous jobs and leave these other jobs for social workers and all these other things. We can get into that in a second, but I want to give you an example. Right. The other day I was at work and there was a drunk guy. He was wailing his arms very violently, right? And I saw as time passed, he got closer and closer to the restaurant, right? So me and my mom were watching Korean dramas. You know, the fucking hype music was playing, so I was ready
And
for
outside,
battle,
you just
right?
see a guy like fucking flailing his arms outside.
We're watching some conspiracy shit, so I was like, all right, I gotta have a plan in my head. So I have a bar stool, right? I'm like, if he barges in here, I'm gonna pick up this bar stool and move it towards him, and you know,
To
be
block
ready
off
for
the
action.
door, or just to like hit him with it? What do you mean?
No, to stop him from coming
Inside.
inside. So that's essentially what happened. He barged in. It seemed like he was gonna move very quickly without saying anything. I pick up the bar stool and I move towards him and I say, "Leave!"
Oh my lord!
Right, and before he got a chance to come in, he left and he kind of put his hands up and everything, and that was the end of the altercation. But what happened there? If I were to parse that, what happened was, I had a plan in my head, right? I can't say that was the best plan, but it was a plan. But even as someone who has training, once a week training, you know, ever since I was a teenager, ever since, you know, just training in general, still nervous, still blood is boiling. And I don't know if you felt that before, but the stress of altercation, the fear of altercation is something you need to familiarize yourself, especially if that is in the description of your job. If your description of your job is you will encounter danger quite possibly often, you need to be able to feel someone go,
be in danger. You gotta be in,
right?
That's what I'm saying. You gotta be put in that situation.
And there's that
so many
adrenaline rush.
times.
It's kind of like going on stage. You'll always be nervous, even though you put 5 years into the practice of going on stage. However, you know how to act.
To react, basically.
You know how to act and react within those situations. You're still nervous, but you know how to move. You know how to talk. You know how to.
And you learn something new every time that you do that training, or like basically like you're a comedian. If you go up on stage, you learn something new.
Right.
To do better the next time. Like you're like, okay, I should have done this. Let me do this the next time. It's training, practice. And well, you can, but it's also like you could put as much practice into it, but maybe you still won't get the same results. Maybe at least with the police thing, we don't know. But with everything else that like in life, you know, it does. Those are the fundamentals right now. Practice and training.
Yeah, my case for jiu-jitsu is, people may think it's too much of hassle, like, oh, I might get injured. It's pretty safe. Nobody dies. People go into the gym every single day, right? And they roll around. The thing is, there's no strikes involved, so you can put 110% of your energy, though it's not, I wouldn't advise it, but you can. And at the end of the day, you get choked out, but you don't have any lasting impacts or injuries, or brain damage.
Probably the only one you'll get is like maybe trauma. If you called someone out, you get fucking choked out.
Right.
Like, fuck.
But they're professional trained programs. They have GST programs it's a course generated for cops, right? They have a lot of these courses out there, and if you trust it and you just delve into it, right? I think you have that responsibility to do so, even if your branch doesn't, pay you to learn, even if your branch doesn't send you to learn, whatever time you have once a week, I think it's very necessary that you take that responsibility to do that, because you will come to know that, the more you pressure test, the more you familiarize with pressure, the easier you will, the more rational you will function in those stressful situations. And if if it's necessary, we can kind of demonstrate some pinnings and whatnot after the podcast. I don't know if you guys want to see that sort of thing, but my point is, please look into it. And if you want to watch a video, watch this video, the Gracie breakdown. They talk about it a lot more, and they kind of break it down and articulate more than I could ever do. So they are masters of the sport. Definitely check them out.
Was one thing that surprised you when you were like researching about these kind of things? Was there something that popped out? You're like, oh shit! Like,
it really surprised me that they only get that amount of training. That really surprised me.
That surprised me too when you told me that. I'm like, well, that literally shows you what the police force is. And one thing that also surprised, or at least not surprised me, but kind of a history fact. I mean, when they started actually militarizing the police was when the LA riots happened a while back. And it was getting crazy, so they had to, they couldn't really fight off the people, so they had to, bring in assault rifles, and they had to be armored up. And that's when it started, from the LA riots back in the day. I don't know when it was, probably the 70s? I don't know when it was, but that's when they actually started militarizing the police. And that's when, nowadays, it's just, one-upping each other every time now. Nowadays, it's just, if we have more protection, we have more armor, more weapons, it's just going to be, the police is going to have all the full power. We're going to feel like the inequality is not, or the equality is not there within the people and the community and the police. It's not going to be there. It's just going to be them, being the authority and, trying to impose their authority on you all the time. So, that's one little history fact I was, thinking. I'm like,
Can I show this video? This is... Let me show you this video here. So... aside from training, right? Aside from martial arts, you never want to de-escalate the situation. You never want to escalate. The situation. So, where's my hard drive? So here is Tom DeBlas. He's a black belt, and he's handling a drunk guy who's very aggressive. And I want you to watch the video at how Tom handles the situation.
Listen, relax. I got a GoPro. Hey man, I don't want no problem. I got a GoPro. Listen, I want you to relax. I got a GoPro on there. No, listen. Did you call him?
That's Tom right there. That's the drunk guy.
GoPro. Bro, he put a whole shitload of groceries and he followed the dude out. This dude's wasted. I talked to him.
Want to go? Let's go.
You want to go?
Go. I'll fucking
Relax.
And granted, this guy can beat his ass if he wants to.
I want you to calm down. I don't want to fight you.
That's good. He said, I don't want to fight you.
I
got you on GoPro. I got you on the motherfucking GoPro. I got you on GoPro. I got you on GoPro.
Relax.
You guys are slacking.
This is a great example of keeping her cool in these situations. If it gets physical, you can handle it, but you'd rather not.
He just came at us.
You'd rather nothing happens. That should be the goal.
Khaki pants on, gray shoes.
Black hat.
Now they're hugging.
Black hat.
Gray hair.
Correct. William. I'm the front end supervisor at Walmart.
Now the drunk guy's apologizing, right?
That's the effects of alcohol. They're usually aggressive, and they're like, well,
right.
I'm sorry.
He realized that the other guy's not aggressive.
No, I know you're
The moment you show hostility, then the other guy's gonna notice that, and he's gonna be like, okay, well, he's gonna start swinging and go crazy. But the whole time, the jiu-jitsu practitioner, he was just like, just chill, what are we doing?
Right.
And he went up for the hug.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that's more than an ideal situation, but that can happen, and that should be trained, right? But what happens when it does go to the ground? Here is another black belt, Matt Serra, and this is in a restaurant, I believe.
Oh shit, it was loud.
Same thing. He's telling him to calm down. He's mounted on him.
The thing is, he's laughing too.
Keeping his calm.
Bro,
now, I want you to pay attention to what Matt says to a security or a police officer, whatever. So later he's going, I'm pressing charges, pointing right at him. Right? Did you hear what he said?
What did you say?
Go back. He said, are you ready to control him? I'm going to get off. Right? So that's professional. Right? He's controlling him. The other guy wants to take over. You ask the guy, are you ready to control him? Right? So that's a kind of thing that training can breed. These two situations. De-escalate if you can. If you can't, this sort of thing is also ideal.
Yeah.
Right? You subdue the guy's as aggressive as can be, and you wait for backup, right? Are you ready to control him? Are you ready to control him?
Yeah. We're not promoting, jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu is, could be a lifesaver, you know what I mean? In your own life, but also in other people's life, you are controlling the situation. And that's one of the things in martial arts. It teaches you the discipline, the kind of like meditative process where you kind of like de-escalate any situation. You're trying to be calm. You're trying to calm the other person down. It's not a fight. It's not like a thing that you're trying to be authoritative. You're not trying to do that.
Right.
And right now with the police, they're being authoritative. They're trying to fucking show you
who's boss.
Yeah, they're literally whenever you're around police, you always get. I feel like I get that. I feel like they're really trying to like impose their authority.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yes.
And nowadays it feels even more like that. I'm like I can't.
It's
like confusing. I do trust them. It's weird, yeah, because you have to trust them. That's the thing. But you're like, you're kind of scaring me a little bit. You know what I mean? Like. I don't like how you have the gun there. You're just like, puffing your chest a little bit, and I'm like, bro, just calm down, just chill. But there are some cops for sure that are just more laid back.
Yeah.
But the most of the time, the things I encountered from them, it's just like I feel like it just feels this energy from them.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And that on a front, I guess you can say, right?
The front? What do you mean?
No, they put on like a front.
Oh yeah, they put like a front. Yeah, basically, you could tell that. It's very noticeable. So that's the thing with people nowadays. They're always like, fuck the 5-0, this and that. I'm like. Now you just tell like people don't really trust them, and it's sketch. They're really sketch nowadays. So especially nowadays, what's happening right now, so they don't want to deal with them at all. So I can see that.
Yeah, this your side, my side thing really concerns me. It's the cops versus black people. It's black people versus white people. It's the division is growing, and I am honestly
the division of
worried
power. It's just
for the future. I am. And here's where I'm worried about. It's like, okay, we each respond. Everyone responds to crises differently, right? Like, how do you respond to these crises? I feel like
right now the George Floyd crisis, or are you talking about like COVID or like
or the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter? Like what? Like people have different takes on it, right? Right. Some people go, well, "That's terrible. What happened?" I empathize with that situation. Some people are in it, so they feel angry, right? That is in the feel category. Like you're utilizing your ability to feel, and essentially
your emotions are kind of taking action in a way,
Right.
but not fully.
But
I mean, some people can.
essentially that is the fuel for change, right? Empathy, pain, all of this shit. That's how it began, right?
Yeah.
And the other avenue for change, I think, is criticism, and that sounds not so good, right? Criticism isn't a sexy word, but criticism is what brings about change. Like when Killer Mike says, plan, plot, strategize, mobilize, organize, he's saying, and he's crying, he's in tears about what's happening, right? He's still saying, hey, protesters, I know you feel angry, but it's important to plan for the future, right? So I think both are vehicles for change. You need anger, like, yes. Empathy, feel for others, yes. And be open to criticizing each other for the better good. However, if all you're doing is criticizing, like a small example is people say Black Lives Matter, and people annoying people go, no, all lives matter, right? That's a criticism. But is that criticism based in empathy? Doesn't sound like it. I think a lot of people are well-intentioned when they say it. I don't think they're as evil as people set them out to be. However,
people that say all lives matter.
However, I don't think it's a helpful response to now. So maybe it's a matter of timing. Maybe it's a matter of, hey man, not now, right?
That's exactly right there. Yeah, because a lot of people, you could say like, I do believe all lives matter, but in the situation that's happening right now, you got to put Black Lives Matter right now. That's what's happening. That's what we're seeing a lot, and it's very prevalent here in the U.S. And it's been happening for years, and people are just tired of it. So that's why we got to say Black Lives Matter now, because we need that change quick. If it's been happening for years and nothing really changed, like since the days of MLK, and it's still happening, like something's wrong.
Right.
Something has to change quick.
If you find this, if you're one of those people that find this annoying, and you think people are just being self-righteous at the moment, I see where you're coming from. But really listen to the voice of the youth. Really listen to people who are closest to the issue. I mean, this video is hard to watch, but I do want to share this video here.
And we'll put it up on screen too, I guess we it's like a reaction video, I guess.
Watch this girl. I don't know how old she is. I don't know what it is, but when I see the pain in her eyes, it is fucking. Here it is.
Oh, it gave me goosebumps. The last part she was saying.
I wish I could. I'll link her page if I find it. But to me, like, guys, we can't be blind to the pain here. Like, this is obviously an issue, and I'm gonna be honest. Like, it opened me up to it. Opening me up to the very real pains of Black people, and I'm afraid to say it. Maybe I was late to it, but this is very important for us to discuss. I told you guys this is not a funny episode, but it's a very necessary episode, and it's very necessary to talk about right now.
Even for like kids in high schools, middle schools, I think they should learn about this. This should be in the history books. What the police are doing wrong, what the protests are about, that should be in the history books. Just as like the LA riots were in the history books in the past too. They should be informed, and I think like we should be informed. It was good that I researched some of this stuff because it kind of got me going. I'm like, oh, it was nice to like. This is good information. Like I didn't even think about it. Like it was kind of like, you know, the both of us, we're not black, so we're not gonna be thinking. It's not like right in our heads. You know what I mean? Right. Of course we can empathize. We do care about it, but we're not gonna like we won't go straight to the protest just because we do come from a different background, you know. So, right. But it is good that we are informed, and we are. I mean, we are in the States. We are where it's happening. You know what I mean? So we gotta at least know about it. You know,
like, like she said, do you not see the pain in my eyes? I was trying to paint an example here. If you are at your father's funeral, right, and your friend goes, "Hey man, what happened?" Oh, it's already been 3 weeks. You need to get over it. Be strong. Is that the right thing to say at the time?
Yeah.
You know, perhaps you'll tell your friend, "Shut the fuck up. Be a supporting shoulder. That's why you're here."
Yeah.
You'll feel that way. You'll feel that way. But at the same time, if I'm going to be honest, I would like to make it a goal to be the strongest person at my father's funeral, because I want to be the supporting shoulder. Now, it's easier said than done, but how do you make the situation better when you are in pain and your family's in pain, right? However, if it's coming from your friend, the day of your dad's funeral, it sounds very unhelpful. So where's that need for constructive criticism? Is it a timing issue? Is it a, should it happen at the same time? Should we empathize and also criticize at the same time? Is it a, hey man, not now, wait it out a little bit?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I struggle with this thing. It's like I said this at the very beginning. I'm not, dude. Social media, me sharing a post, I feel like ain't gonna do shit if I'm gonna be honest, right? Like Dave Chappelle said, the streets speak for themselves. Like people whose voices need to be heard, like her voice. Like I felt that I really need to share that video because, like, that's not the type of thing that I go through, but like you felt chills, I felt chills. I saw the pain in her eyes.
It's crazy because you don't even see that on the news. Like I don't think I would see that on the news. At least even for like the Spanish news outlets, they don't even put that. I don't feel like they would put that. They'll just put like the bad things of what's happening, the looting, the tear gas and this stuff like. But you don't actually see the anecdotes of these people. Right. And I think that's what people should be seeing. So you could be put in their shoes, but in a way, of course, you can't fill in the full shoe. But at least you could kind of see their experience. You could see their experience. You could see their tears. You could see who they lost. She lost 3 brothers, I think. Damn, it was crazy.
Instead of seeing them as the angry mob that you could see on, whatever, the news. You could see, all those fucking looters, like, it humanizes people. And I think that's what's important on all sides. We need to see... People need to humanize the movement. We need to humanize cops as well. I'm gonna be honest. Like, what's fucking amazing that people love seeing? Cops calling out other bad cops. Right?
Oh,
I love that shit.
But it's just like they should know. That's the thing, that people should know there's good cops. You know what I mean?
But you're scared as a player on your team. You're scared to criticize your own. So that is, I feel like, the issue. Where there's a division between the thinking and the feeling, the empathy and the criticism. There's a division of that, and how do we intertwine that in a better way to help each other? When a cop says, "No, fuck that guy, man. We'll stand here and march with you," I'd be like, "Yeah, fucking plain and simple, right?" And that has to be with everyone. Like, just like how the left and the right criticize each other, ideally, we learn to grow together.
Not put the other one down, basically.
Right. but the constructive criticism, right? The moderate right should critique the extreme right. I feel like the moderate left should critique the extreme left. I think it goes for everybody. And so when you try to say these things and articulate these things, it's really hard because you can be labeled as a lot of these. You can be labeled as racist, white supremacist. This is the fear of losing your social reputation. And I want to stand here to say, like, I am only searching for the closest thing that is the truth. I don't know what the truth is, but what we can do is be honest. You know, and that's it.
To be honest.
That's it.
Yeah.
So let's but maybe empathy first, man. You gotta empathize first before criticizing, I think.
Yeah,
and I think that's the conclusion I came to. I could be wrong, but that's what I came to.
Empathize first, and then from there, just knowing the truth. But the thing is, with the truth, nowadays they don't believe the truth, or like everything's just thrown up in the air, and they're like, "Oh, we've been stuck here in COVID, but what's really happening in COVID? Are we in this wave of COVID?" And then now the protests are like everything is like there's conspiracies also with like the bricks that they put in front of the buildings. They're saying like, "Oh, it's planned out. They want us to loot the buildings. They want us to throw these bricks in the buildings." So everything's kind of like, who do we trust now? At this point, like, but we do have like our own, I guess. We do side with things, so we have our own side, but we don't know who to trust at this moment. Everything's kind of just in the air, and that's why people are just going out in the streets and doing their own thing.
That's why we're trusting a comedian, Dave Chappelle, rather than fucking Dom Lemon on CNN.
Damn, yeah.
You know, that's the fact of the matter here. That you know, that's both sad and refreshing at the same time. It's sad because we have to look to those who are not obligated to do those things, but we do have voices that will step in and say, "Fuck it, we gotta talk about it because y'all ain't being honest." So, you know,
it's a hard one. Yeah.
Take a break.
Take a break.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Quick little break. I guess coming back, to what can we do? What do we see in the future? Like what you were talking about, like that's the thing we need to see right now. We need to see the future and the BLM movements or the protest. And I was reading up on the web. They have a website, and they said they are a political. I guess they are a political platform, but they don't have, I guess, the power to change really, like, I guess, any policy, any laws. They can't do that, but they do have this platform, and it's a big platform because there's a lot of people joining it. And there's celebrities, a whole community can join this, and it's just something that everybody can hear. Is a protest, so it's a strong platform. But like, what is the end goal? What do we see at the end?
Yeah.
What do we see at the end of the tunnel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do we see? Yeah.
Like, end racism. That is it's optimistic.
Yeah, but like
it's ideal. How do we get there? What are the needs? What are the wants? I think part of the possible issue is, is that there's no leader. You know, in the past there have been many leaders that have voiced for the people. You know, the heart of the people, and I think that is sometimes necessary. I wonder if it'll happen anytime soon. I wonder, maybe it won't just be one guy. Maybe it'll be a board of people who kind of discuss it, and that'd be fucking awesome as well. I mean, there are more than enough people in the movement. I wonder who will kind of like maybe be that voice.
Because I mean, MLK was the one who was, I guess, I don't know if he was chosen, but like, I guess he was the voice at that time. So I don't know who will be the voice this time, or we don't. Maybe as a whole group, we could be the voice like that.
But how do you call out the?
Yeah, how do you call
out the bullshit?
Yeah, how do you call out that person specifically? Who's gonna call out that person? You know?
Yeah, does what that guy, just because it's related, you gotta forgive him for it and say like, yeah, he's also doing the right thing. Like, how does that become managed? And I think that's a legitimate concern. And so I wonder. So I wonder if anyone could shed light on that for me, please. Please help us clarify that.
Let us know who, I guess, you think could be the voice, or I mean, because there's a lot of people speaking up. It's good, yeah, and
like there's some dumb shit that have been said, like being devil's advocate is in line with white supremacy. Like, what does that mean?
devil's advocate. So
Yeah. You see some people repost stuff like that. I'm just like, what does that mean? You know, so it's like to that point, like if there's a leader, he's probably gonna say, "Come on, man." He's like, "This is what we're about." Like, focus, guys. I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, maybe there'll be someone who's kind of this is the focus here. Like I don't know, like Killer Mike said, let's plan for the future, and these are things. That's where we should fuel our energy. But there are a lot of voices that are important to hear right now, and so I'm glad that.
But we need to go to a protest, or we need to like check out some of those, because they have like those rallies or some speakers out in here in the Bay Area. We should check it out just to like at least get more informed. To be honest, because we are at the little base of it. Like we need to expand our knowledge on this thing, because we are.
Facts.
We don't know it. Like we don't know the full facts of everything. But we do want to know, of course, and it is part of our lives, and we are curious, and it is in our lives. It's in our face, so you can't deny it. You can't deny that. Anybody can't deny it. It's right in our face. It's happening right now. It's the big thing in 2020 right now. I would say a really big thing. It probably is going to be one of the biggest things in 2020.
So my tiny question to people who could shed light on this in terms of defunding the police. Make it quick, but I put the definition here.
Oh, defunding the police.
Make it clear that some people think it's abolish the police, and I think that's also most likely silly, but that's not what people are saying. Defund the police means the act of reducing and reallocating funds of the police department to non-policing forms of public safety and community support. Social services, for example, youth services, housing, education, other community resources. So, in fact, like George Floyd issue, $20 bill was fake. You really need to kill a dude for that? No. Motherfuckers, let's send somebody else. So the logic makes sense to me. However, what does it mean if they need more training? Does that mean they need more money? Or does it mean, hey, y'all are spending money on some bullshit, maybe reallocate your money into training and less money on the weapons maybe? I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. I don't know how you would know the answer to that unless you've done a deep analysis on where are they putting their money and what are they using it for. Yeah. And what does it mean when? What did you say? How much money they spend on the police? You said.
No, I didn't give you a number.
You didn't. Could you check that? Okay, but I think it was like some billion whatever number, right? And I've heard people say this. But yeah.
I'm guessing, what if they are using it for like social services, but they're not using it correctly? You know what I mean? They're like, they might be getting the wrong people. They're getting, but who knows? That's the thing. Like, who knows? What if they're also, the police doesn't know like where the money is going? So someone else is coming in and taking the money and kind of dispersing it in different parts of the department. They don't even know themselves. So it depends who's in power, or who's in charge of that whole police force right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a drunk guy or a homeless guy. Police shouldn't handle that by himself, right?
Yeah, I would probably have. If I were a cop, if there's a drunk person, I don't want another person there. It's really good to have another person there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think is that true? Is it that, like in most situations where the cop kills the guy, is it because it's just one guy, the cop and the other dude, or is it there's another cop involved all the time? Is it like two cops and one guy, or is it one cop and?
I think there's usually
just by himself. Or is it usually more than one
cop? I could be mistaken though. Don't know the answer to that.
Because I would think, in my head, like another person is there to kind of de-escalate and help you. If you have your partner, if we were to be cops, you know what I mean? You would want to, like, I'll be like, yo, Jeremy's, like, chill. I will tell you, lean off with the freaking neck. Like, you would want to tell your partner. You want to communicate with them in a way.
You want to, like the guys that was just there. How about you go, hey, man, I'll take care of this. You know, just, you don't got to be so direct about it. I'll take care of this. You know, you move in place to the other guy. How easy is that?
Yeah.
So be present in that situation.
Yeah.
I had something to say, but I forgot.
Well, it's just, I don't know. It's just, this is all crazy. Like, what's happening right now, it's crazy. I can't.
Yeah. This was my dad said something funny the other day. He said, why don't they just invent a Spider-Man gun? And I was like, what is a Spider-Man gun? He said, you know, like a net that, like, captures somebody and he falls on the ground. I was like, I kind of burst out laughing. I was like, that's kind of hilarious, but, like, why don't they make something like that? Because it's sort of like you shoot the net out, you capture the guy, he's on the ground, he can't move, and then you mess up and you let him go and he's not dead. How about that? Like, there's, you know what there should be? There should be, just an idea here, like a Shark Tank version of, like, different tools to that the cops can utilize that are non-lethal, non-deadly. You know, just imagine that for poof.
Let's capture them.
I know it sounds very cartoonish, but there has to be something to that effect as to where you don't have to be shooting people all the time. God damn it. So.
Just think of the many possibilities, the many random freaking weapon or choice of a weapon. Well, it doesn't have to be a weapon. It's just a choice of restraining them, basically. And it could be, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know.
So think about these things. Think about these things. My dad goes like, I don't know if I'm a genius or they just stupid.
Damn. I'm like thinking,
Yeah.
Should we just give all cops tasers? Should we just leave it as that and not? But the thing is also the gun thing. That's, you can't.
Right.
That's the thing that also you have to change, and then it gets really tricky because then a lot of people own guns in the USA, and then they want to keep it. They want to protect their Second Amendment, and that's another thing about the Constitution. Like, do we really need that nowadays? Let's fucking change it. Let's change this shit because that was years ago.
It's showing its age.
Now there we go. Yeah, it's showing its age. We don't. It's like it's a new generation. You know what I mean? We don't need that. We don't need those things that were back in the day when there were slaves. You know. When it did take land, you know what I mean? Like, why do we need those? Let's look at it and let's kind of modify it. You know what I mean?
Modify it. Great.
Because some things are good about probably at least a little bit of that, but you gotta modify it. At this point, you gotta modify it.
Well, times are changing, right? So
don't change the law since like 100 years ago.
The environment of now is not the environment of then. So there may be some things that still stand the test of time, but I think it's safe to say that it's showing its age.
And they're gonna say, "Oh, it's traditional." There's we can't change
the founding fathers.
The founding fathers. Like, it's the founding, the structure of America, man. We can't change it.
The founding old people that were dead for a long ass fucking time.
We don't need them anymore. Let's change it up a little bit.
So,
and that's what's gonna, I guess, propel us, just the world in general too. I mean, just if we kind of modify these little things. If we change, we adapt to the new era. You know what I mean? We gotta adapt to the new era because right now, we're bringing an old generation to a new generation. It's not gonna work.
Did you find anything?
This is the most. It was back in 2017.
2017.
It said the total of state and local governments spent a total of 115 billion on police.
115 billion.
Yeah.
On police.
Which is 4% of the shared total of government spending.
That's 4. Wait, it's 4%.
4%.
Government. Oh. Well, hearing that, that's barely anything then, right? What do you think?
I feel like 4% is kind of.
Is that a lot? That's barely.
If you think about it.
4%
out of all the other stuff there's.
I can't say I'm smart enough to really process all of these numbers.
I'm just thinking that's actually really low. Wouldn't that be low?
Yeah,
right? Because then, what are the other things that you're putting into account? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
Well, corrections, like.
Is there anything
jail is 3%, which is. You know, when you think about prison and how much
Massively
money goes
we're
into prison, and you compare that they're funding the police
Right.
that highly as well.
Yeah. Well, in any
And
case,
you
like,
compare it that way.
yeah. What if if you said 3 point something million or billion?
115 billion.
Billions.
Oh, okay. 115 billion. Well, that's like an outrageous number, but it's also, to me, when I hear that, it kind of sounds like the Earth is millions and light years away from the sun. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Oh, like
it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, like.
But you don't know what that number means, so.
You're like light years, yeah. When I say light years and like specific things like that, or like we're 1,000 sound waves away. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
So if I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what that number means. I need to see like how much money are they using.
We need a pie chart.
A pie chart. Break it down. What are they spending on?
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, is there some wiggle room? You know, like there's money to go here, money to go here within the own department.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so,
you want to know the top categories?
Yeah.
Like what else is in the
So
pie chart?
corrections is 3%, police is 4%, highways and roads is 6%, health and hospitals is 10%, higher education is 10%.
10%.
Elementary and secondary education is 21%. Public welfare is 22%.
But what's the last one?
Public welfare.
Oh,
is 22%.
Okay. And that all combines to 100% of everything that's being used from the government. And I'm just making sure.
People.
You know what I mean? Like, is that all combined to 100%?
I think it's less.
So what's the other
maybe
going?
Maybe all the other stuff is like point blah blah blah. You know, like less than a.
It's probably like 99 point whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, but this is what they're.
Those are the bigger chunks.
Right.
The bigger chunks.
So, yeah.
Well, at least when I heard the secondary elementary, that's 21% or something. That's pretty high, and I think that's the highest one out of all of them. So I'm like, that's good. I think in my head that would be good at least, right? Yeah. So you would want that to be education.
But the problem is we see it and we need more.
We see what?
Wouldn't it, like elementary and secondary education, you need more funding there.
They want more. People want more.
You see how it is now, and it's not that good. It's not fair.
Oh, it's not fitting to the standard right now.
To what
you know?
we need, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
You defund the police because they don't need as much money.
That's what it's saying.
And then you put it in these other.
But isn't that kind of because
areas that need it?
We understand that there is less because we were in it. You know, we've been to school. We've done all these things. We don't know what money's put into the police. I mean, shouldn't we kind of gear ourselves to learn more about like what's really going on over there, and then criticize how do we go from there? Like
we all went to public school.
Yeah.
I feel like comparing my public school experience to yours, it was really different. You know, I think maybe because you live in a bigger city than I did, but
right.
You know,
but these are all things
I
that
do all the fun shit.
Yeah, and these are all things we universally understand and debate about in our heads pretty frequently. You know, and I think more money needs going to school. Like these are things that we talk about as a community. We don't talk about as a community. What are the costs spending on how much are they spending on their training? How much are they spending on their weapons? What are the wages? What are what's is it a 6-month long training? We don't know any of this. The people who are in there know that, and I would like to. I think what's a possible thing to help everyone is to have, just throwing an idea out there, like maybe a high school program where you kind of spend time with cops or spend time with firemen or spend time with all of these other organizations to kind of not only humanize them but to also learn how difficult it is, and from there we gain some knowledge, and then we're in a better place to critique what needs to be changed. Does that make sense? Before hearing a high number, 100 or whatever billion, that sounds too much. Let's defund the police. Yeah, because it might, like we were saying, we all have different experiences, so we have a different pie chart. I could say like I want 40% to be funded for hospitals and mental health care and all that type of like stuff. Like I could have my own part. That's another problem. Yeah. Hospitals. So I could have my own pie chart. I could have my own little like, okay, let's have police at 10%, but then have like school system at like 90%. You know what I mean? So it's just like, we need to find everything needs to be better. That's the issue. You know. So, but we all know our field. Like maybe I'm biased about the martial arts thing. I mean, I really believe that it's true. that needs to be spent more time. But you know, that's my area of expertise, and so I say that needs to be better because I know.
Because we.
But what do I know?
We've gotten choked the fuck out. You know what I mean? He choked me the fuck out. You know what I mean? I've choked him the
Very
fuck
gently.
out many times.
Not once. We're gonna be honest here.
No, but yeah, I mean and once you're actually there and you see it and you're actually, oh shit, this actually works, and you gotta implement it in the training.
Well, it's not just about the choking out, right? It's about the discipline that comes with it.
Exactly. What I hear,
you take away that like cockiness.
It humbles you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It humbles you. That's the thing.
And like Tom DeBlas, like these videos we've seen, the best thing to do is not to use the thing you learned. You know, you learned the thing so that it calms you down, so that you don't have to use it. It's really hard to understand, but that's precisely it. You learn the tools to subdue somebody, but you rather not.
No, yeah.
It's dangerous. It opens up portals for danger, but you know, you feel just a little bit more comfortable in those altercations.
Yeah.
And that's why I advocate for more training in police.
Totally agree. Yeah.
That being said, is there any final thoughts you want to wrap up?
Just get informed, guys, because I mean that's what we're doing too. We're not experts on this at all. You know, we're barely at the little tip of the iceberg, and we gotta fill in everything else. We gotta figure out everything else. You know, so just get informed, research, really just read up on stuff. Go to protests, go to some rallies, anything that you can just get your hands on, just to like see stuff or just hear things. So, and
artists and podcasters too. Something to contemplate is don't be afraid to
talk about it.
Talk about these things. I think, and Schultz has said this. I feel like he said that kind of harshly, but I feel like you're kind of missing the point if you're not making commentary on what's happening now. Meaningful, powerful, poignant, funny, because he's a comedian. Things about what is happening right now, critiques. And so utilize your platform not to pat yourself on the back. Don't do what the Hollywood celebrities did. Right? And do that fake empathy shit, reading off a goddamn script. I take responsibility for every racist act that
bullshit.
Come on, guys. Like that's where this whole empathy thing falls apart and it starts to look like bullshit, but it's not. But it's not if you use your platform honestly. Don't be afraid to talk about certain things.
Talk to people.
Talk to
other people who know about it. Yeah.
People, don't shut each other down because we all have valuable opinions. Not saying one person's opinion is more valuable than the other, but people are trying, man, and that's fucking the best. That's important. People are trying.
That's true. That's all we could do right now. At least the people who can't, you know, or at least who aren't black and they're not.
Correct.
And then people will say you can't say this and that because you're not black, and but you have a platform. We have a podcast. We could talk about it to let other people know, our fans, anybody who's listening, to like give them a piece of advice or just this advice just to listen on things like this. Just
right.
Just be informed. Just be informed about it. You know.
Right, and I don't want to make this too long, but you know, some people got shit going on at home. You know, so some people are, this COVID shit is still happening.
Yeah.
People are going through divorces. People are hurting within their own households. Okay.
We're talking about like the peer pressure and like telling people like, oh, go out and or.
Well, I'm saying that people are going through shit in their lives. So don't be so quick to say you're not posting on social media, so you don't care. Somebody's house might be broken into. You never.
A family member just passed away and they're grieving still. They can't.
Yeah, social media is not the end all be all. Okay, if you just because you repost a picture, it doesn't mean you're a good person. So I just wanted to say that a little bit of. So I had this little ending kind of
A song?
No, monologue.
Oh, okay.
Or just something that I've been thinking. And again, anything I say and have said could all be wrong, but I'm just trying to be honest.
We just let us know if we said anything wrong. We probably...
Right.
Some of our facts may be not fully factual, but
right.
Just let us know.
So, Brett Weinstein said recently, the energy that is fueling the movement is about real, legitimate complaints. We have the energy, the amount of people to facilitate change. However, that sometimes isn't enough. As ideas come forward, we need to be open to criticism. What happens next is a series of evaluations and revisions to plot for the goal. As Killer Mike had said time and time again, he urges protesters, including aggressive rioters and looters, to focus their pain to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. Perhaps it isn't too soon to critique those who need to hear it most. Perhaps the truth should be spread like wildfire, so that those who are ready and willing to listen can have the chance to act swiftly and accordingly. Who knows what the truth is, but we can be honest. We should not refrain honesty, no matter how afraid we are to say it. You will be judged. You will be offensive. You will risk your social reputation, but do not risk your ability to think.
Like that last little part. Boom. That was like that mic drop.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening. Until next time. I mean, it probably is gonna go on until the next podcast that we meet. We might talk about it again. If you guys want to hear more about it, I mean, our opinions, let us know too. Because I don't know, but
if you want to say, shut up and go back to the jokes, we're all for it as
just
well.
if you're saying shut the fuck up, I want to hear jokes. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, all right. But we also I mean, if we want to say stuff too, we can at least let them control us fully too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Possible
Sarcasm,
guest.
just sarcasm.
But yeah.
If you want a guest speaker.
And yeah,
Yes.
if you guys want us to like bring someone in, I think we actually do wanted to like have a talk with someone who was there, protest.
We're in the local Bay Area, San Francisco, to be honest. So if you link us up with anybody, we can provide some.
You can Skype.
Hitters.
You can Skype them also because it is COVID. So
Yes.
we keep forgetting, but yeah, it is COVID. But
yes, correct.
But stay safe, guys. Just remember, don't be afraid to have your own opinion. I mean, at the end, like he was saying the quote, you want to be able to think. You have your own thoughts, but don't be afraid. Okay, yeah. I don't know. It's a strong quote. Yeah.
With that being said, good night.
Good night. Good morning, whatever time you're listening to this to. So, stay beautiful. Have some boba. I don't know. Just chill. Boom. I was just sitting right here. I'm like, hold on.
Oof. My heart was beating for a lot of that episode.
My head was hot. Maybe it was just like super hot in here.
Collective.
Yeah.
It was hot as hell. I feel like if I took off my hat, I would have thrown everything
It
off.
did get warmer in here. That's
It got really warm.
It's all of that fucking heat and
It's all that emotion. It's that emotion heat coming out.
Oh.
That's when I started dancing.
Post Malone. Posty.
Oh, play Posty.
Posty.
Posty.